The problems we face are one of transformational leadership. In other words, the mindset that we need to create to tackle the problems that will come with technology, artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, all the other technologies that actually will either make us more competitive or less competitive depending on how we respond to them. We developed a process called the Darwin Matrix, which is very close to complex adaptive systems, which we know has had success in industry, in physics, for example, and people like NASA and Elon Musk. We developed a system independently of them, but it actually works very closely aligned to that system. And we think that's part of the solution that we need to create a new mindset to take on board these new technologies. It's very closely allied to complex adaptive systems, closely allied to biological systems, so that they're, if you like, a proven entity of survivability. So we look at that in the context of a business performance. How can we best measure and monitor that progress in the business itself using the Darwin Matrix? Basically, we want to create a very powerful organisation which is transparent, and the ideas can be shared in real time, and they actually are encrypted as well to US military standards. So it's quite a powerful process, and people have used it, whether the universities or small businesses or huge corporations have all had the benefit of using it, and we've got plenty of testimonials that verify what we're saying has got some power. We start the process using the Darwin Matrix, so we're evaluating their present condition, if you like, and their relationships with other factors that may be influencing those decisions. So it's a sort of neuro simplistic way of looking at the organisation, the capabilities, lack of capabilities, the human interface. So basically it's an evaluation of their present condition. Look at the complex adaptive systems, we'll see that the Darwin Matrix process we've developed is a real-time innovation tool. In other words, the teams themselves share ideas on the matrix itself, and the matrix can be accessed 24 hours a day anywhere in the world by those teams that have been involved in the process itself. So for example, a decision maker in Paris could be talking to somebody in Japan, one of their fellow team makers, and they're actually sharing information in real time. This is the excitement part what's about 5G, because all of those things will not be delayed by any technological progress. It'll all be fast and reliable. That's why we're quite excited about the implications and the applications of the Darwin Matrix, because it will enable teams throughout the world to be able to talk and interact in real time. We started off working with the research and technology part of Shell. We introduced systems that helped scientists, commercial scientists, understand the issues they needed to address. And we actually had a visual system which allowed us to investigate more customer-centric approaches to the problem. So instead of inventing a great new product, we actually looked at what the customers actually were looking for. What sort of problems are they trying to resolve? And we applied this process to a lot of different businesses, looking at what their customers needed to resolve or solve. So, for example, we were working with a manufacturer that needed to break into large multiples, retail organisations, and they had some difficulty doing that. We developed the brand, for example, which was an important consideration, but also we solved the problems of the retail outlets themselves. So we were then becoming more of a integral part of the retail solution, that manufacturer invaluable. So when we worked with the manufacturer, they were doing about $250,000 turnover. Now it's about 36 million. So there's a lot of differences that as long as they take on board some of the customer issues and problems, then we can actually and help to resolve them for the customers. Then we have a good process. And the only way the process really works is by taking this holistic approach, which is inviting the customer's problems into your own journey. So my journey was probably happened over many years, of course. We developed systems that were already, in some respects, developed by people like Gelman, as I've mentioned. And it's actually been used in the military as well, so that they understood that actually each one of the agents within a complex adaptive system could actually, like the internet, be a general in their own right. In other words, they could be the fulcrum of communication. So these are the sort of things that we introduced into the thinking processes, and I think they're still relevant today. So we're looking at how do we develop leaders, and it comes back to this idea that complex adaptive systems is about developing everyone within the organisation as a potential leader, so that if one of those agents gets knocked out, that other people can step in. A good example of that is like murmuring. You ever see birds flocking around, all flying around? They all seem to be independent, and yes, they're following a process that actually allows them to survive. So murmuring is a visual way of seeing it, but in actual fact, if they work together as an organisation and each one of them can take the leadership, then it can help direct the rest of the organism. So that's the same in business. We can have these approaches that allow us to get the best from the people within the organisation. Very powerful stuff. We've used it in many different organisations. As I say, with scientists, we've used it at universities. And we just need to really get it out there and get more people to embrace it, especially in education, especially in the health sector. Yes, the ideas are creeping in, but they're not fast enough. And I think it's now more relevant than ever with technology, coming in as a tsunami of technologies, if you like. We need to meet those challenges with leadership and a much more proactive way of thinking, rather than just being responsive to any forces that are impinging upon us.